Hi everyone, welcome back to Career Chats with Jen. I have Bianca here with me, and we're here for another interview episode. And we have video this time. So Bianca, do you want to introduce yourself with like your year, your major, and where you're from?
Yeah. Hi everyone, I'm Bianca Tung. I am a second year on the women's rowing team, and my major is political science. I'm from Orinda, which is like NorCal, so pretty close.
Yes.
Kind of.
Yeah, actually, we don't live too far from each other.
We live really close to
Yeah.
each other, actually, like
Yeah.
15 minutes.
Exactly. And also, Bianca is one of the Coxswains on our team. So that is a fun fact about her. Okay, so I guess we'll jump right into it. So what was like your athletic background before you started rowing?
So I played sports for a good portion before. I started with karate for a little while, and then I swam and played golf, and then for like 4 years I played soccer, so like club team, and then I stopped playing soccer in freshman year, and then sophomore year I joined
Of high school.
Of high school, yeah.
Okay, of high school. Wow, so you've like really done it all.
Not really. I mean,
I feel like you played a lot of sports. That's a lot.
Yeah.
I feel like all of the Coxswains are on our team are like pretty athletic.
I think the Coxswains on our team are like Junie, Sam,
Yeah.
Nicole, everyone works out.
Do you feel like that's typical or no? For like other Coxswains that you've known?
I would say not really.
Not
no.
really. Okay.
I mean, of
interesting.
course, there are always people who will work out, but like, I wouldn't say, oh, every single Coxswain works out.
So what brought you to rowing and like what inspired you to try it?
I first discovered rowing in 6th grade on the newspaper.
Okay.
And then it was Oakland Strokes, so that's the
Okay.
team I rowed for.
Yeah.
And they had these 1-week camps throughout the school year and throughout summer, and so I joined it in 6th grade once, and I was like, okay, I think I'm okay. And then I came back in 8th grade because I moved to Orinda.
Okay.
And so because the San Pablo Reservoir, I think it was a summer camp there, so like for a week, so I joined that again. And then after that, I was kind of like, well, I think I'm okay. But then freshman year, I quit soccer, and I was like, well, I miss like being on a team and being athletic and doing these things, so I think I'll just try rowing. And then I tried. Yeah.
So third time's the charm.
Yeah, third time's really the charm.
Wow, that's so interesting that you like, tried it so many times and you're like, no.
Yeah, no, actually it's really funny because the first time, after the very first day, I was like, this is not for me. I got in the car, I was like 6th grade, I was like, this is not it. I'm never joining rowing. Like, no.
As a 6th grade. I mean, I can't believe that they do that for 6th graders.
I know.
Like, that's so young.
It was so funny, honestly.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, were you like immediately like a Coxswain in 6th grade, or you tried like rowing?
No, I actually tried rowing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. So, you didn't like rowing?
No, I did not.
Okay.
But what's funny is that when I joined again sophomore year, I started again as a rower.
So, what do you feel like was different, like, the third time? Just the fact that you weren't on the soccer team anymore? Or, like, did you like the people on your team better?
I think I joined the third time because I really committed to it, and I was like, well, I actually want to like give it my all this time instead of, oh, it's just like a 1-week program.
Yeah.
So before I didn't really like have anything attached to it, but then I was like, well, I'm investing myself, like my time in this.
So you just decided, I'm gonna do this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do this.
So I started, I was like, okay, let's just,
Okay, interesting. So my next question was your connection to the sport instant, or do you think it took some time to develop? Which I feel like we've seen. The first 2 times didn't work out, but the third time did. So you started coxing. Okay, so you started coxing the third time you tried, or after a little bit, or when did you decide to do that?
I had a full novice fall.
Wow.
Which I guess isn't really saying much, to be honest.
Okay.
But I finished the fall quarter as a rower, and then, actually, this is a funny story. I caught an ejector crab, and my coach was like, all right, it's time for you to become a coxswain now, and so then I moved, and I was like, I'm okay with that.
I didn't know that happened.
It's really funny.
Oh my gosh.
It was actually, it was at right before one of the head races, head of the lagoon, and it was really cold. So we were pulling up to the start line, And my coxswain was incredibly inexperienced because she had never come to practice.
Oh.
So I caught the crab, I went out, and then I was back in the boat in like a second.
Yeah.
But it was so embarrassing because the official at the front was like, "Rower in Oakland strokes, are you okay?" And I was just like, "Yeah, I'm all right. Like, thanks for asking," and announcing it.
What did you, like, how do you get back in? Do you just kind of climb over?
Yeah, I just have to like push myself over because I went through the rigger. So I was like, great, like of all sides to go through. But yeah, I pulled myself back in.
That's so funny. Oh, and then your coach is immediately like, you need to be a coxswain.
Yeah, I mean, I had kind of been talking to her about it before.
Okay.
But I think this was like okay, yeah, you're definitely switching now.
Wow. How would you describe the learning process of becoming a coxswain? Because I feel like it's very different than the learning process of learning how to row.
Right. Well, I think my experience is maybe a little bit more unique just because I went from a rower to a coxswain.
Yeah.
A rower. But
you were a rower.
Yeah. Yeah. I think like the learning process is different because, you know, rowers have the immediate feedback, whereas coxswains, you have to experiment and you have to practice and try before you can kind of figure it out.
Yeah, I never really thought about how, like, I feel like the coaching process isn't exactly the same because, yeah, for us, like, usually the coaches are, like, in the launch beside you and they say, like, oh, so-and-so, get your blade in. But I guess I never thought about how for coxswains, like, it's not really feedback like that. Like, you'll kind of talk a little bit, but it's not like they're right up beside you telling you what to do. Because, like, that wouldn't really work.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I can't imagine.
Yeah. Oh, do you need to adjust your microphone?
That's okay. I'll keep it on.
I know, I'm getting hot too. Should we move to the shade?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Hold on.
We'll be right back.
We're back. We adjusted the camera. Do you feel like you're good at directions, like, in general?
Like, am I directionally challenged?
Yeah. Or are you directionally gifted?
I think I can tell other people's directions really well.
Okay, yeah.
But when I'm only by myself, I'm like, oh my gosh.
So, like, you're really good in the passenger seat?
Yeah, I'm a good passenger seat.
Okay, nice. Yeah, I would say I'm directionally challenged. So, was there anything that surprised you about being a coxswain when you started?
It was definitely a lot more challenging than I had thought because as a rower, I would be like, the coxswains aren't doing the workouts. They don't get it.
Yeah.
And then when I was like steering and coxswain was like, oh God, like after that I was like, wow, like yes, the coxswains aren't doing the workouts, but they have their own set of challenges.
Yeah. I remember when I was a freshman, so I had a roommate who was on the team and she was a coxswain.
Oh, right.
Hi, Chloe, if you're watching. But yeah, it's funny because we would talk and she'd be like, oh my God, I wish I was a rower. Like, because she would tell me about all the challenging things about being a coxswain and like for her learning for the first time. And I was like, sometimes I would be in those workouts and I'd be like, dang, I wish I was a coxswain right now because it'd be really nice to be sitting in that boat just sitting there and not having to do this. Okay, when I was a freshman, it was after Crew Classic. Colin let us switch our stroke seats in our coxswains. I was like a coxswain for 15 minutes, and I was like, no, I actually don't ever wish I was a coxswain ever. Like, this is impossible. How does someone develop their own style? Because I feel like coxswains, everyone has their own style.
That's true. I think it's just based off learning from other people's tapes, other people's audios, kind of like what you pick up from your coaches, your teammates, like what they like, what they don't like, kind of just bringing it together. What do you think of my coxswain style, since you've been with me since?
Okay, I was thinking about this last night. I think you have a very personable coxswain style. I feel like you really like to get to know all the people in your boat and know what they like, and also just kind of like who they are and like what their vibes are. In not rowing, you're so like friendly and approachable, but then when it comes to like it's game time, it's race time, like it's serious, you really know how to like be serious.
Oh, Jen, oh my gosh.
But I don't know, like, how would you describe your coxing style.
I think I would agree with that, actually.
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty good way to say it. Like, I really do enjoy getting to know the people in my boat. I mean, both in the water and off the water.
Yeah.
I kind of tailor, like, my coxing towards individuals because I think that'll make us fast together.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that's a good way to approach it. What kind of recordings did you listen to? Like, was it teammates, or like, do you listen to like Olympians? Or I don't even know if that's published. I've never looked into that.
They actually do have coxing recordings on YouTube. There's a lot of them.
Okay.
So I remember, like, high school, I would spend so much time just like listening to other people.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think I also listen to like what the coaches say, what you guys say, what my other teammates say, like other coxswains say.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I remember my roommate, like, she would just sit in bed and like listen to recordings, and she would play them for our other roommate who wasn't a rower, and our other roommate was like scared.
When I tell my friends like what my job is, they're like, oh my gosh, I don't think I would want someone screaming at me while I'm trying to finish a workout.
It's not, but it's not screaming in a mean way. It's like screaming. I mean, I wouldn't even say screaming, but like in a encouraging, intense way. Yeah. So, you know, obviously I wouldn't want someone screaming at me in a mean way. If someone's going to encourage me to give it my all, then I feel like people would like that.
That's true, yeah. So maybe that's a common misconception.
Yeah. How do you feel like your relationship with the coaches differs from like our relationship to the coaches as rowers?
I think Colin does a really good job of like keeping the staff informed, like the coxswain staff, and like letting us know. And he always reminds us like we have to be on the same page in order to get like our rowers to be fast, because we all have one goal, right? Yeah. So it's different because we help the coaches and the team like in executing those goals and like having a plan in a sense. Whereas the rower's relationship with the coach is perhaps more like teacher and student.
How do you think the metrics of success differ between rowers and coxswains?
Well, for rowers, I think it's more numerical. Like you have that immediate feedback, kind of like what we talked about before. Whereas for coxswains, it takes more time, and like what you're hearing back from is from like the rowers, from your like coaches. So it's different, and I think more difficult to measure success for a coxswain because seat races are a little bit different for us. Like seat races compared to rowers. So. Yeah.
For yourself, what do you define as like being a successful coxswain, or like a successful practice for you, or race? I don't know.
A successful
or like practice? I guess what do you strive for as a coxswain?
As a coxswain, I strive to help the boat become better by the end of practice. We don't have to be the fastest, but we have to do like our best, give it our all, so that at the end of practice we're like, yeah, we made improvements, or at least identify what things we need to focus on for the next day, and etc.
That sounds like something I would hear you say in practice, you know? Yeah, I feel like that's a really good philosophy to have. What kind of skills do you think are necessary to be a good coxswain?
Someone who's confident, because they have to lead the boat.
For sure.
So it's important to like trust yourself. A positive attitude is incredibly important because the rowers can sense, you know, what a coxswain is feeling sometimes. So it's like the coxswain has to believe in themselves and their team. Yeah.
Do you ever feel like internally like discouraged or something and just feel like you have to like kind of hide it from us? Do you feel like that ever happens?
No.
Okay.
I think in those times it's important to communicate with you guys and be like maybe why things aren't going great. Like it's important to talk about it so then we can all figure out like a game plan
to work on it.
Exactly.
No, because I feel like sometimes as like a rower, I feel like if I feel like I'm having kind of a rough day, sometimes I kind of feel like I just am like, okay, let me just shut it all in and nobody needs to know. So, you know, I actually really appreciate that you don't approach it that way, because I feel like someone who is there to encourage us and work with us, like wants to be vocal about like, okay, let's not hide the fact that things are not going well. Like, let's talk about it and work through it.
I think it's good to have transparency, or else like you might start setting expectations for yourself, and then other people are like, well, I wasn't on board with this. I didn't know this was happening, right?
Exactly.
So then it's more confusing.
Yeah, and I feel like that comes back to like the whole trust thing too.
Agreed.
Like, you have to trust everybody with your plan, and then like we have to trust you with your plan. So what kind of things do you like to do before a race to like get prepared?
What do? I race plan.
So what does that look like for you? Do you sit down and like write it in a notepad?
Yeah, I sit down and I write it out, and I kind of visualize and put myself through like what I would imagine a 2K would be like. That's about it. I just prepare, and then after that,
So when you like show up on race day, like what does that feel like? Because I feel like for me, I'm kind of like anticipating the pain, but also the excitement of a 2K. But I feel like for you, there's not the same physical component. So like, what is that like for you?
For me, I feel like I have to be much more calm and level-headed.
Yeah.
So when I come to the race course, I'm excited, but I'm more like, okay, like what needs to be done in order for us to launch on time, in order for et cetera, and like check all the conditions, like wind conditions, water conditions.
So a lot more details. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because for me, it's like I'm coming in with all this adrenaline and like, yeah, let's go, let's race, let's do this, and you just have to be like, okay, let's plan this all out.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember when we were doing that scrimmage at Chula Vista, and do you remember when Kiana's rigger broke?
I do remember that.
Right?
I think we had just launched and we had done like a loop the other way, and we were turning around.
Yeah.
And as we're going up and doing our 10, Kiana's like,
what was that?
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, her rigger broke, and then we had to turn around and go back to the dock, and Brooks had a replacement so he could fix it. So then I think we told Kim like, hey, Kiana's rigger is broken. So
I called her.
We like rushed back, and I remember Kim was freaking out. She was so like, you could tell that she was so stressed out about it, and I remember you were just like, it's fine, we're good. And me and Kiana talked about it later, and we were just so impressed, because it was like that could be such a situation where like that could throw everyone off, and we would just have like a terrible race after that. But I remember that race went really well, and you were so calm, and I feel like that made such a huge impact on like how that race went. And I don't know how you stayed calm, because literally Kim was freaking out, and it freaked me out a little bit. But I was like, okay, as long as Bianca feels fine, then I think I'll be okay. So like, what's your favorite thing about the sport of rowing?
My favorite thing, hands down, is the people I get to row with every single day. And of course, I love my sport, I love what I do, but it's the people who I'm around and who I get to surround myself with that really make it so much more rewarding and just make me so passionate about it.
That's so sweet.
It's very, very incredibly true.
Okay, on the flip side, what's like your least favorite thing?
My least favorite thing? I don't think I really have a least favorite thing. Anything you try and do, you're always gonna have your ups and downs. It's just given. Like, you're always gonna have a low, and you're always gonna have a high, and so it's important to remember that.
Do you not like hate waking up early?
I don't hate it that
You
much.
don't hate it?
Because it forces me to sleep early, which I really enjoy.
Okay. I don't think I've ever heard a college student say I really enjoy going to bed early. I think you're the first person I've ever heard say that.
That's very funny. It makes me feel so much more productive also. And it gives me a lot more structure. I know I have to like finish my stuff before then. And I also just feel so much better when I get enough sleep.
Yeah. I like to flex on people by saying I wake up at 4:30. So even though it kind of sucks,
you're like, I'm making the best out of this.
Everyone has to know. I kind of like to flex on people. Okay, so I guess we kind of talked about this already a little bit with like what makes a good rower or what makes a good coxswain, but like what makes a great teammate?
I think a great teammate is someone who commits to what they say they will. So if they're telling me that they're going hard, then I hope that they really are going hard.
Yeah.
Right? And I think communication is incredibly important.
Yeah.
So everyone has their off days. That's fine. Sometimes it's important to like talk about it.
Yeah.
but I think the most important thing is honesty, and from that you can build trust. What do you think is the most important?
I think like consistently lifting each other up is really important, because I think rowing's kind of interesting in the sense that we kind of compete with each other, because we like seat race and there's like boating stuff. I mean, I guess that happens on other teams too, with like who's the starters and stuff. But when it comes to that kind of stuff, like being clear about the fact that like, hey, we're all still a team, we're all supporting each other and like love each other no matter what happens. I feel like that's really important, so that we make sure like there's no bad blood here. It's all about doing what's best for the team and like working our hardest. And I also think, getting to know what's going on with like your teammates outside of practice, seeing these other aspects of their lives, supporting each other in that way, I feel like can really also transfer to practice. So because then like the whole thing with trust, it's like you trust them with your life outside of practice and you trust them with your life inside of practice.
Exactly.
Okay, do you have any like pet peeves about rowing?
Pet peeves?
I feel like this one's a little different for Coxswains, because like for rowers it's like there's so many things that could be pet peeves, like if you catch a crab, if someone's backsplashing you, or if someone's rushing. But I don't know, do you have pet peeves?
Yes, I do. It's when someone starts rowing without me telling them to, or if someone like thinks that they know what my point is, so they're stopping. I'm like, no. Did I ask you to? I didn't. There's a reason. So
interesting.
That can just be a little frustrating, because it's like, I know you're trying to help, and I appreciate that, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're being helpful.
I feel like if I was a coxswain, my pet peeve would be people who like are backseat coxswains. Do you know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. I do.
And I feel like actually our team is like good about that, and like that doesn't really happen, but it's happened before where I'm like, that's annoying.
Even you're like, why are you saying that? Like, that's not your job. Yeah, that's frustrating.
Or just like, rowers really need to focus on the task at hand. And coxswains can focus on their task. Was there ever a time that you wanted to like quit rowing? And if so, what made you stay?
No, I've never wanted to quit rowing.
Okay.
I haven't, because I'm very passionate about our team, and I am very, very thankful that I get to be on this team. So, have you ever considered quitting?
You keep asking me all these questions.
I want to know. I think this is like a conversation. I want to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, as well. I feel like I definitely have. And like I don't think people should be afraid to say that. Like I feel like you should be honest about it, because it's a hard sport. Like when I started, I was kind of like, oh gosh, I don't know if I can like continue doing this for like more years, because it's really intense, and it was way more intense than anything I'd ever done. So I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna make it the next 3 years, but I look where I am now. I'm still here.
Thank goodness.
So, and I remember thinking like this is a really big time commitment, and I was kind of wondering like, oh, in the future, like maybe I'll want to focus more on my career. Who is that? Is that Rachel?
Oh my gosh.
Hi. Do you want to say hi to the podcast?
Hi, Rachel.
Hi.
So funny seeing you.
How are you? YouTube. Okay, so this is Rachel. She's a freshman on our team, and she was just walking by and she saw us recording. So
have a good interview, guys.
Thanks.
I'm excited to watch it.
Thanks.
Bye, Rachel.
Okay, so I feel like actually though I have been able to like do career stuff, and I still am able to like spend time with people who aren't on the team. So I feel like actually it was okay, and those concerns were, they were fine. It all worked out. And then when my back was really bad.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know if I talked about this on my channel before, but like I had really bad back pain during fall quarter. Yeah, I would wake up in the morning and be like, oh, I know practice is really gonna hurt today. So like I was like, I don't know if I can keep doing this. I started getting treatment. What got me through that period of time was once we got to Fall Classic and we had a race, and I feel like I had a really, really fun day that day. I was like, I really just need to like hold out until spring, and because I feel like that I really love racing. It's so fun, and I love the quality time that I get to spend with my teammates when we're doing racing. So I was like, if I can just hold out until then. But I do need to take care of my back. And if you're injured, don't just be like, oh, I don't care, I just want to race. Like, actually take care of yourself. But yeah. What are some things that you feel like you've sacrificed for rowing?
My friendships outside of rowing. Sometimes it's difficult because my friends really like to hang out late at night.
Yeah.
So
that's very common.
Late at night / early in the morning. So I am
early in the morning.
Yeah, I'm usually like waking up 2 hours after they've gone to bed.
Oh my gosh.
So sometimes it's hard because I don't get to spend that quality time with them. If anything, rowing has allowed me to like find structure, and so because of that structure, I'm like, okay, like I know I have to do this and this, like
it's made you better at time management. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, in a way. I think it's funny because after rowing, I remember I was like talking to our teammates, and they were like, well, don't have rowing, so suddenly I'm procrastinating and not doing anything at all until like late at night.
I know. Well, I remember like our first 2 weeks of the quarter, we weren't allowed to row because because of COVID restrictions.
That's right. And you texted me at like 12 or 1 a.m. I was like, Jen, why are you still awake?
I know. Well, I was texting you about the survey.
Yeah.
The surveys that you made. Which, okay, to tell the podcast or the listeners, Bianca made these really fun surveys about like the people on our team, like from every class. So there was like a freshman survey and a sophomore survey, and like for every class. And it was like, oh, who's most likely to know how to do a magic trick? Who's most likely to pick you up if you called them? Or like what were some of the other ones?
Other ones.
Biggest Swiftie.
You won biggest Swiftie.
I did for my class.
Well deserved. Very well
deserved. Who's most likely to get married first?
Oh right.
Who has a shopping addiction?
Yes.
Yeah.
Fashion icon,
yeah. But anyways, it was very fun, and yeah, I texted Bianca to say, oh, I loved your surveys, they're so fun. And it was 12 o'clock at night. But you were awake too. So.
I was awake.
But yeah, when I don't have rowing, I just remember feeling really off. I was like, oh, what's going on? And like I had school, but like it felt like I didn't.
Exactly, so. Especially because it was all online and I was at home, so I was like, well, I feel like I'm still on vacation right now.
Yeah. Well, that's why I came back to San Diego, because I was like, okay, I need to like get work done, and I had more free time to like work on hobbies and stuff. But yeah, I felt weird. I was like, this is so weird. Okay. What do you think is the biggest thing you've learned about yourself from rowing?
From rowing?
Or from, I mean, not being a rower, but...
From being a rower,
from being on the rowing team.
From being on the rowing team, I have learned that I really do have to trust myself, and that it's okay to make mistakes. Because this is a quote from Colin, every good day on the water means that there's at least 3 mediocre days and 1 not so great day. And it's from that I realized like you have to persevere and you have to keep going, because the end goal is so rewarding, and after you have that like really good day, it just sucks you back in, right?
Yeah.
But it's through all of that, like you have to have grit, and you have to believe in yourself and your purpose.
Yeah. I haven't heard that Colin quote before.
You haven't?
No.
It was very recent, actually. It was from him to me, like a few days ago.
Okay. What are some other things that he frequently says? He loves pelicans, right?
I've never seen him express his love for pelicans, though.
Well, earlier in the year, it was during fall, there was a pelican sitting on the water, and Junie like almost ran into it. She almost ran it over because she thought it was gonna like move,
right?
And it didn't. And so then Colin goes, Junie, you almost ran over my favorite bird. So that was like the only time I've ever heard him say that. But yeah, I don't know. It is apparently his favorite bird.
I have seen it in the Instagram comments.
Really?
Of UCSD Women's Rowing.
That's funny.
Yeah.
What are some other famous Colin quotes? Oh, I remember he said, this was a couple years ago, one of his quotes was like, don't be scared. Well, it sounds kind of dumb. This was when I was a sophomore, I think. He would be like, oh, like, don't be scared. As in, like, no fear. Like, when you approach like something that's gonna be hard or that you know it's gonna be painful, like, don't approach it being scared. Like, just go for it and see what happens. So, yeah, I liked that a lot at the time because I remember when I was a sophomore, I was scared.
I'm totally understandable.
Like going from novice year onto like the varsity team, I was like, yeah, I'm scared. Okay, so now we're gonna get into the crew chats countdown, which is 10 rapid fire questions at the end of our interview. Okay, so what's your favorite rowing memory?
My favorite rowing memory was my novice year 4. This one race that we had was so funny because my friend, her oar like popped out of the rigger, and so she was just holding the rigger and just like sitting in the boat, and we were 100 meters from the finish line, and it was really funny because she was just like, all the pictures that got her were just like sitting in the boat, and then like there was the stroke seat was just like, okay, like she had no idea what was going on, so she was going even faster, and then the people behind were so confused and they were trying to follow, but it was so funny. I guess it's not my favorite memory, but
it's a funny
it's a memorable one, yeah.
That is very funny.
It's very, yeah.
Wow, the entire rigger came on.
I know, it was so silly. She was just like sitting there up at the catch, like holding it and like going up and forth.
Yeah, what are you supposed to do?
I don't know.
Like, yeah, you do just kind of have to sit there.
Yeah.
So, oh my god. Okay, I guess my second question was, what is your favorite seat to row?
My favorite seat to row is bow seat.
Okay. Well, it's good that you were actually a rower so that you can answer that question. Why is that your favorite?
My favorite is bow seat because I enjoy watching the people in front of me.
You do?
I do.
I feel like I'm fine with any seat, but I do feel like sometimes I get overwhelmed in bow because there is so much that I can watch. And it like, sometimes I'm like a little distracted and like, I need to pay attention to myself. Well, it's interesting because you're a coxswain now, and that's like your job.
Exactly.
Like, yeah, you
watching
actually
everyone.
are supposed to be watching all these blades and whatever's happening.
Right.
So, yeah, that's great.
It works out.
Number 3, what's a misconception about being a coxswain?
I think a misconception would be that coxswains aren't athletes, or that their only job is to scream their heads off at you guys.
Yeah. Yeah, like that coxswains don't work hard. Yeah, coxswains do work hard.
Yeah.
What do you like to eat before practice?
I usually eat overnight oats before practice, in my little mason jar.
What is your favorite post-practice snack from the nutrition table or nutrition room?
Recently, it has been hard-boiled eggs, which I know is a little bit odd, but
it's not weird.
Well, I've never liked eggs my entire life, but my roommates really like eating eggs, so I think I've picked it up from them. Okay. And I just really like the hard-boiled eggs. I don't know why. I just don't, but whenever they're not there, I get so sad.
That's so funny. I think I've taken the hard-boiled eggs once in my whole 4 years. Number 6, do you have a pre-race like pump-up song that you listen to?
No, I do not.
Okay.
I listen to silence.
Okay. It probably helps you focus a little better.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I've never really like listened to music before.
Okay.
What is yours?
I don't know if I have one in particular. I have a playlist. I feel like it changes. Actually, though, so you know what song I love listening to before an erg test is, okay, I recently discovered the song Prima Donna by Maria.
That is a really good song.
I mean, that song is so old, so I don't know how I only discovered it like this year, but I've been obsessed with
That's a very good
song.
song.
Okay, do you enjoy head races or like 2Ks more?
I think I prefer 2Ks.
Yeah. I mean, that's like the bulk of what we do.
Yeah.
Yeah. 4s or 8s?
8s.
Yeah.
8s?
Yeah. Same. Do you like it because like you get to sit face to face with us, or?
Yeah, I do like that. I like that I can see my stroke seat and that we can talk. And also the feeling of a locked 8 is just insane.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
What would you say to someone who's interested in trying rowing or like trying to be a coxswain?
I would say that you should totally try it and push yourself out of your comfort zone, because you gain so many experiences and friendships, and you learn so much about yourself and about other people, and it's just an incredibly rewarding sport. And once you get sucked in, it's like there's no turning back. It's incredibly rewarding and one of the best decisions I have ever made.
Agreed. Okay, what's one thing that you would recommend this week? And it can be literally anything. If you don't have one, I can go first. Also.
You can go first. Yeah.
Okay, so this weekend I tried this cider. The brand I think was called Ace. It was like this guava cider, and it was really good, like alcoholic cider. So like if you're not 21, I'm not recommending this to anyone who's not 21 or of legal drinking age, but it was really good. Like if you like fruity drinks, then you would probably like this, because I would say it's pretty sweet, but it was really good, and I love guava, and they have all like different flavors, like they have mango, pineapple. So yeah, it was really good, and something different from the traditional apple cider. So yeah.
That sounds yummy. Guava.
So good.
I would recommend that you call someone you love.
Aww.
And you tell them that you love them.
That's sweet.
And that you care, because everyone can use a little pick me up.
Yeah.
So it's important to let the people you know, or people you care about, know.
So I recommend alcohol. Bianca recommends something really good for your soul, and the souls of the people that you call. So yeah. Okay, well, thank you so much for doing this interview. I had such a fun time.
Thank you so much for having me, Jen. I had a very good time.
Oh, thank you.
I love
so
our
much.
conversations.
Anyways, okay, so I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye.
Thanks for having me.